And we have the professor on call.
What's up, Amish? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Professor, I have to, first of all, give people a quick introduction on who we are talking with right here. 'Cause I don't think most people, it's like we got a gem in our backyard, but nobody knows about it.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, so like in UFC right now, right? There's the big fight happening, Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. And
right.
and and it's big because in the history of UFC, which is the biggest platform for fighters, there hasn't been a bigger matchup on skill set on that level,
Right.
right? And you represent one side of that matchup, which is Tony Ferguson, the 10th planet. You are the
That's
black,
right.
you are
That's
the
right.
black belt East side leader of that system of jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
So I wanted to
Yes.
I wanted to get your thoughts on the whole thing about Tony Ferguson versus Khabib. What's your insight on what's happening and how it's going to go about?
Oh man, I can't wait for it to go down, man. Of course I see Tony Ferguson winning,
Yeah,
winning by submission.
yeah.
I think Tony could tap could be,
I like Tony has a very diverse skill set, but Khabib has a very strong wrestling, judo, top head. The only thing is that if you're the one down and the other guy is attacking and getting on top, isn't it? Don't the referees look at it as a negative in terms of scoring?
the person that get the takedown, you know what I mean? Like, the judge is definitely going to score it, in his favor
Mm,
if you deliver the takedown. If you end up on top, the whole round and ground and pounding and, the person on the bottom really ain't doing much,
mm,
the judge is going to give it, to the person that's on top,
mm.
you
Well,
know.
yeah, Coach.
Um,
The main reason why I called you on the show, honestly, was because my show is called Econo-Psychology. Okay.
right.
And my
Mhm.
audience is people who are struggling, in difficult circumstances, and I use expertise and knowledge from various different leaders from different walks of life to give them some advice on how to come out of it. Now, there are many jiu-jitsu coaches. The reason why I wanted to bring you was one, the background. You represent the elite of the elite. You are the top. And the second thing is, I know you yourself have such a rich history in terms of like you were an MMA fighter yourself, and then you
Right.
built a career of jiu-jitsu in the most innovative system called the 10th planet. So I just first of all wanted to hear about you from your story about how this whole thing happened. What's the journey been like in your fighting career?
Oh man, the journey has been tremendous. Far as fighting, what people don't understand is when it comes to fighting, it's 80% mental. You know, it's 80% mental and it's 20% physical. Mental is you thinking about it all the time. You know
Mm,
what I mean? You
mm,
dreaming about it.
mm,
But you still keep pushing because you got people to look up to you.
mm.
And things like that. So you want to just keep pushing and grinding it out. No matter how hard the journey get. You know what I mean? You want to keep pushing forward.
Where does
Um,
the where
I,
does the your fight career start from? Where does Chris Hendrick, you know?
well, my grandfather signed me up for Taekwondo when I was 10 years old. His whole reason of signing me up because I had what you call a quick temper. I would get mad fast, no discipline and stuff like that. And plus I like karate, Taekwondo and
But what
stuff
what
like
what
that.
was what was home for you? Where is this? Georgia?
No, Virginia.
Virginia? Okay.
Virginia,
Okay.
Virginia. So my career started in Taekwondo, and I left from that. Later on, I started Taekwondo when I was 10. I stopped after a few years, and then as I got older, I picked up Kempo Karate. Kempo Karate is it's a fighting art.
Mm,
Which I like very much, very physical and stuff like that. The senseis
mm.
jump in and beat you up and things like that. Got 4 black belts in Kempo Karate. And then I just recently got my, black belt in 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu.
Mm. Well, how did you transition into cage fighting before you got into all of that? How did that happen? MMA and
Well,
cage fighting.
well, it was after I got my black belt in Kempo Karate. Well, it was actually doing my black belt test in Kempo Karate that there was a guy there he was a black belt in Kempo Karate, but he had some Jiu-Jitsu experience too.
Mm,
And for the test, you had to perform all these different moves, katas, or what they call forms and stuff like that. And some cases they call it says and stuff like that. So we had to perform all the kata, self defense, and all the requirements. The requirements was, you it was one side you're gonna fight point sparring,
mm,
other side's gonna be full contact,
mm,
which I didn't have no problem with. Then there's like this side over here, you're gonna be ground fighting. I'm like, ground fighting, you know what I mean? What is that?
mm,
You know, and one of the guys there, you know, was like a blue belt already in jiu-jitsu. So when I got to the part on the ground, I seen the guy, you know, I said, there's no way that he could hold me down. Nobody could hold me down, you know what I mean? So, you know, when I partnered up with him, he took me down easily.
mm,
And then he mounted me,
mm,
you know. Then I was moving, struggling and things like that, trying my best, you know, to get up. So I said, hold on a minute. This joker ain't moving. So I look up at him, man, and I see him just
mm,
looking around in class.
mm,
And I decided then, after that day, I was gonna go and take up jiu-jitsu because if someone could do that like that, do that to me,
mm,
the way that he did it, I want to be able to do that to somebody else.
mm,
So I started, you know, taking jiu-jitsu.
mm,
I took jiu-jitsu. I want to say when I first started jiu-jitsu, I got my blue belt in like 8 months.
mm,
That's unheard of. It
mm,
take you a year and a half to get your blue belt.
mm,
But if you're persistent and consistent,
mm,
you know what I mean? Like, you know, you can make it happen.
mm,
You know, I was training with my instructor at the time, and I was coming back teaching my cousin.
mm,
You know, you
mm.
heard me talk about my
So
cousin.
you were doing 10th Planet from the beginning, or you started with
No,
Gracie?
I started out in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
I started out in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So after I got my blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu, there was a guy there. He was a school teacher,
Mm,
you know, and they all knew I could stand up and strike and stuff like that because they would have situation nights,
mm,
like what to do if a striker strike you, how would you take them down?
mm,
And I used to be one of the attackies and stuff, so these knew I could strike right away.
mm,
And the idea of MMA didn't come up until after this teacher told me his name. I want to say his name was Dan Saddles.
mm,
He was real good in jiu-jitsu too.
mm,
He was like, you ever thought about really pursuing this? You ever thought about doing MMA?
mm,
I was like, no, you know, I thought about it, but it's scary.
mm,
He was like, man, you should because you say, you know, you picked up jiu-jitsu, your stand-up is good from, you know, from the karate and stuff. You know, you should get into MMA. It was during that time that a light bulb came on.
mm,
You know what I mean?
mm,
It was about around 2009 when the light bulb came on. And so what happened was me and my cousin, you know, make a
mm,
long story short, me and my cousin Keon had got together and stuff like that. We had started training on our own, you know, learning stuff on our own and stuff like that. So we got into our first cage fight
mm,
in 2010,
mm.
and you know, we got beat up a little bit. We got beat up, you know. So that's my short story how I got started in MMA and stuff like
But
that.
coach, what would you say about, especially for, there's a lot of people who want to start a career in fighting and they want to make a living out of fighting. So from your perspective, because you've seen that world, more importantly, what were the don'ts? What things would you say that, you would advise people to avoid that you think leads to a safe and also a financially stable career in fighting?
Well, you know, first, for safety and stuff like that, you know, when we first started out fighting MMA, we would fight in the gym before we even touched the cage.
Hmm.
Um, that right there is a big mistake. You know, you don't go full out in training camp, catch all kinds of concussions and stuff like that. You know, before you get in the ring. You know, that's a mistake that I made.
Hmm.
That's a mistake that, you know, I made, my cousins made and stuff like that. We get beat up. You know, to pursue a career at this,
Hmm.
you gotta love it, man. That's number one. You gotta love it. You gotta love um, hurting people. That's something that you have to get used to. It's hurting people. You
Hmm.
know, because you know that person gonna look to try to hurt you.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And eating right too.
Hmm.
Eating right and things like that. You always, you know, in far as like, you know, money and stuff, you always start off at a lower scale.
Hmm.
You know, so you have to. So a lot of MMA fighters, when they first start their career,
Hmm.
they still have to pick up other jobs and things like that, whether it's, you know, doing little odd jobs, carpentry work,
Hmm.
you know, Lyft driver, you
Hmm.
know, things like that, until their career build up. It's a hard sport.
Hmm.
It's a
So
hard
it's
sport because you,
it's interesting you say that you've got to get comfortable with hurting people. So it's like
yeah,
you get in a space where it's either kill or be killed. You're
that's
you're
right.
you're pushed into that space where you have to either confront your fear or you're going to be taken out, right?
That's right. That's right. You know, you have to, you know, it's almost like you had to turn into another person.
Hmm.
That was one of the things that a lot of people said about me,
Hmm.
you know, because they always say, "Oh, you're malleable, you're nice, you're a nice guy and stuff." But when you're in that cage, you turn to somebody else.
Mm.
You have to. You have to. You know what I mean? Like that's why I gave myself the fight name Black Ninja because right now I'm not the Black Ninja. You know what I mean? Like the Black Ninja is that warrior. That
Mm.
Black Ninja is the warrior side of me. You know what I
Mm.
mean? That I try to keep within myself. You know what I mean?
So
Like I let the warrior.
here's an interesting question, right? So on one side is the mastery of the art itself, right? It has a prestige in itself to call yourself a black belt in the 10th planet system. It's a big responsibility, right? Then
Yes, it is.
on the other hand, you have all these people who are trying to become black belt faster through going under people who will just give it to them without earning it, right? And then the
Right.
third element of it is that maybe they want to start their business as soon as possible so they could start teaching and start making some money. So how did you balance it for yourself where one side you wanted to attain that mastery and then there was the need for money? So how did you do it for yourself where you didn't compromise on either or?
Well, first of all, it was never about money for me. Um, I did it because I love it. You know what I mean? Like I love the art, man. I love the art first.
Mm.
Um, as far as, getting belts and stuff like that, I would say if anybody gonna get a black belt from me, it's probably gonna take them 10 years in jiu-jitsu
That's
because
fair.
that's the required years that it take. It took me 11. It took me almost 12 years to get my black belt in jiu-jitsu.
You should say
You
either
know?
that or he should be like Amish who's comfortable with a Gucci belt.
Right. Oh, that'll work too. Gucci belt. Hey man, I like Gucci. You know what I mean? I take Gucci belt too. Um, no, on a serious note, man, no, you gotta love it. You know what I mean? Like I love this. That's why I don't spike my prices high. You know what I mean? Like my prices ain't no $200 a month. You know what I mean? Some places are charging that. Um,
And I mean, the
everybody.
quality of people that you roll with. I mean, you've got wrestlers in there. You've got some of the greatest people that I've seen in terms of like the talent that's there. Tommy, I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
all these
man.
people, they're so amazing.
Oh
Um,
yeah, man. Like the students getting so good, I can't even do anything with them. You know what I mean? Like turn them over to get so good. The best part of this journey is seeing how people start, seeing how they grow, how they start from like for example, like they weren't even able to touch their knees. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And now, like 3, 4 years later, you see this guy bending down and putting his head on his knees or putting his head between his legs. You know what I mean? Rolling over his shoulders. We call it Granby's in Jiu-Jitsu, Granby rolling inverted and stuff like that. You know, it's an amazing journey to see, to help people, man. That's my biggest part of this, the reason why I do it, because I
So
love
the love
helping
of
people.
it has kept you in it, even though you had to go through some tremendous financial challenges and difficulties of it. So that's what your takeaway from it is.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not an easy
Absolutely.
journey because it will take at least a good black belt will take at least 10 years. In your opinion.
At, at least 10 years. Yep, that's my opinion,
Okay.
you know.
Final question I had for you, Coach, is that in terms of financial hardship and difficulty and challenges that the poor people face, what has Jiu-Jitsu done for you philosophically, psychologically? What type of benefits does it offer in terms of making you a stronger person? Does it or does it not, or it's just a physical activity?
No, man, it definitely make you a strong person mentally. You know what I mean? No, my thing is getting through anything that's hard, man, is self-belief. Self-belief. You got to believe in yourself. I mean, it's easy for, to get motivated from other people believing in you, other people motivating you.
Hmm.
But the biggest belief is how you're going to get through is self-belief, man. You have to believe in yourself. You know what I
But
mean?
what is the main philosophy of jiu-jitsu as a fighting art? What is the concept in a nutshell?
Man, it's like a flow. It's a way of life, you know. Jiu-jitsu is a way of life, man. It's the way you carry yourself, you know. Going back to the black belt mind state, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people be like, "Oh, you're a black belt because you're good at jiu-jitsu, or you're a black belt because you're good at karate." No, no, the major part of this is how you carry yourself. That's
So
the major part.
elaborate a little bit on that aspect. What do you mean how you carry yourself?
How you carry yourself in a respect manner. You know what I mean? Like, don't be a jerk on the street. You know what I mean? Like, treat people how they treat you. Be respectful.
So you're, oh,
You
it's
know?
interesting. You're saying that actually outside of the arena, the cage, it makes you a more peaceful man. It's interesting you said that. Initially you said that it you have to go in there to hurt somebody. But when you
Right,
come out of it, you have to be a lover. So it's a contrast. It's
right.
interesting.
That's right. You know, like John Jock Machado, Eddie Bravo's instructor.
Hmm.
He always say, you know, it's great to train hard and become champion, but it's even better to become a great person. You know what I mean?
Coach, when is your gym opening back up for public? I know coronavirus has hit everyone heavy.
Man, I don't know. They keep on, you know, they keep pushing the dates back, you know.
Hmm.
I want to say they pushed the date back to what, May, m- to the end of May or something like that. Um, but we won't be open, man. They're gonna keep pushing it back because there's so many cases. You know, they ain't even, you know, they haven't even started with figuring this thing out yet. You know.
So if someone wants to get in touch with you and wants to get involved in 10th planet style of jiu-jitsu, or at least, get some information from you whenever this thing opens up, is there a website or is there some way to get in touch with you right now?
Yes. Well, they can follow my Instagram,
Okay,
Chris underscore 10P Woodbridge.
perfect.
You know, that to me that's the best way to get in contact with me. Even my phone number, 732
And before I let you go, last question. Would you put your sons in cage fighting?
No, I
Why?
would not. I'd
Why?
rather put him to be a doctor, you know what I mean? You know, be a doctor, lawyer, or something like that. But
Hmm.
if that's what they want to do, of course I support it. Of course I train them. You know what I mean?
But why not? Why would you not let them go in that field?
It's hard sport, man. You know, sometimes it's hard to watch my kid compete, even though I'm a competitor myself. You know, especially I was especially like karate tournaments because they hidden.
Hmm.
You know, sometimes those kids they hit hard.
Hmm.
You know, it's tough seeing your kid get hit on, you know, and things like that. So I never understood why my mom or my parents never came and watched. Now I understand. You know what I mean?
I have firsthand experience because I remember my first fight in jiu-jitsu. All I heard was you screaming on the sidelines, "Put him on underhooks!"
Right,
You,
right.
yeah, yeah. So I can see like you get really emotionally invested.
I do, man. You know, I'm generally a quiet person.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You're lucky to get me on this thing here today.
Oh,
You know,
I had to drag you out here.
yeah, you did. You did, you know. I don't mind it, you know, it's interesting, it's fun, you know, for me, you know. But yeah, man, you know, whenever I'm working someone's cage, you know, cage side or ring side, I turn into a different person as well.
Hmm.
You know, very animated, you know, I scream, I'm loud.
Hmm.
You know, I'm loud from the sideline. You know, I have other people looking at me like, oh, I wish this guy would shut his mouth. You know,
No,
that's I
but
like
that's
to
what
see.
that's what you need, because when you're in there and you know somebody is emotionally invested like that in you, then you also feel like, there's somebody who's really on your side and not just throwing you in there and not caring about you.
Right, exactly. And that's the same thing with you know, with the cage. I have a lot of people coming. I have a lot of students asking me like, "Oh, you know, can you train me to get into MMA?" I'm like, if I don't see you serious coming to jiu-jitsu,
Hmm.
I'm not going to train you for a mixed martial arts
Hmm.
fight.
Hmm.
You know, I don't want to see anybody go there and get hurt.
Hmm.
You know, that it's a tough sport, man. Especially the way that I started.
Hmm.
I always, you know, say I fought semi-pro.
Hmm.
And the reason why I said that, because back in Virginia, the venue that I fought for,
Hmm.
we would have shorter rounds. We would have three, well, if it wasn't a championship fight, we would have three-minute rounds. But we got the same rules as the UFC, man. We're able to elbow in the face. We're able to knee in the face standing up. We're able to kick in the head standing up.
Hmm.
You know, all everything almost go.
Hmm.
It ain't like the rules, you know, it ain't like the amateur rules up here, you know, they have you get in the ring with shin pads on, headgear on. You know, you can't, you know, you only can punch to the face, but you can't kick to the face. If the fight goes to the ground, you can't ground and pound. You can't punch the body. I don't know if you could, yeah, I don't even think you could punch the body or the head up here.
Hmm.
So it just, you know, to me, it's just a jiu-jitsu match then.
Coach, before I let you go, if you had to sum up everything that jiu-jitsu has given you as a human being, as a man, and you had to sum it up in one word, what word would that be?
I go back to, man, self-belief, self-motivation. That would get you through anything. If you're there struggling, self-motivation, self-belief. You got to believe in yourself first.
Thank
You
you
know what
so
I
much.
mean? That's the biggest motivation.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Army.
Have a wonderful
Thank
day,
you, brother.
Coach.
Yep, you too, brother. Thank you.